Welcome, my friends, to the Biography of Brutall. In the beginning, there was nothing. There really was. I mean, some stuff did happen. There was that big bang you always hear about. Apparently, some stars and planets started hanging out together, just like chillin'. And about 14 billion years later, Brutall was born. Brutall was your typical baby, dumb and hungry. He led an uneventful life for the first few years because, well, he was a baby. But don't worry, things got a little more interesting for the little guy as he started to grow up. Like that one time he ate a dead frog he found inside the house. Yes, a dead frog. Or that one time he ran into a huge banana spider in its web. Have you actually ever seen a banana spider? Yeah, they're disgusting and huge. Seriously, like Google that thing, it's craziness. Is that even a word? Well, it is now. Brutall grew up one of 4 children. And unlike the Brutall of nowadays, he would spend almost every waking moment playing outdoors, running around, breathing in the fresh air. He and his sisters would play games they made up. They'd dig giant holes in their yard for no reason whatsoever, and for some inexplicable reason, Brutall would often sneak off behind the shed in the backyard to pee. I guess walking inside the house was just too much to ask! Well, he was a sneaky little guy. He'd pre-planned the route he'd take to snatch up all the Easter eggs on Easter morning. He'd also send his little sister on reconnaissance missions into their parents' closet each year during Christmas and his birthday. That's how he knew he was getting a PlayStation back during the Christmas of '96. That's terrible, Brutall! Where's the element of surprise? It's Christmas! Brutall eventually found himself reaching his teenage years, where he once had blue hair. This was back before he lost it all, of course. He loved spending time with his friends, but more than anything, he loved skipping school and spending an ungodly amount of time playing EverQuest. Seriously, people, he almost failed the 12th grade because he skipped so much school. But that loot, though. You know what I'm saying? Don't be like Brutall. I mean, if there's anything you take from this video, don't be like Brutall! Please, I mean, he's holding me captive. Look, he's actually holding me captive and forcing me to read this terrible script he wrote about his boring and uneventful life. If anyone can hear me, call the police and send It was in 2008 that he met his eventual bride, Amanda. Now, this was a turning point in Brutall's life. He found the one person in his life that he wanted to be with more than anyone. But she had a boyfriend. So he waited until, well, she broke up with the guy. And in February of 2009, they were dating. By early 2013, they were engaged. And in August of 2013, they wed. And it was a beautiful ceremony. You really should have been there. I mean, I wasn't, but it's in the script, so you should be there even though none of us were. But it was lovely. Did I say lovely? Shortly after that, Brutall started making YouTube videos and streaming on Twitch. And for some reason, people still watch him to this day. Nevertheless, Brutall slowly but gradually built the wonderful community of Taconia. And life was good. In December 2015, life would get a little better too, because Brutall's wife told him he was going to become a father. Brutall was overjoyed, to say the least. He had always wanted to be a dad. And now he was being given that opportunity. In fact, it was on this day, exactly 3 years ago, that Brutall announced to the world that his wife was pregnant with their son, Isaac. It was a fairly easy pregnancy, and in August 2016, when his son was born, Brutall was the happiest he had ever been. Brutall and his wife were so happy with Isaac that they decided to try for a second child. But sadly, in July 2018, they suffered a terrible, heart-wrenching miscarriage. And so, that brings us to today. Brutall's 33rd birthday. Obviously, I couldn't cover the entirety of Brutall's life in one video, but we hit the highlights, I'd like to think. What's next for Brutall as he starts working his way to 34? Well, what if I told you he might need to take a day or two off later this year for a short stint in the hospital. That's right, folks. Brutall's gonna be a daddy again! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Thank you for watching the biography of Brutall. But I have a feeling that the best is yet to come.